Hey, Frank Couples Counselor here. Today I want to talk about if I had to start marriage all over again and do it all over again, there are a few principles that I'd like to really make sure I strengthen. And this is important because if you don't do these principles, and what I find over couples counseling and the 20 years of ministry that I've been doing, that when couples don't do these few things and strengthen these things, they eventually end up in divorce and dissolvement of the relationship. They find themselves growing apart. And so this is why this is important, because the thing is, we find that special someone in our life and we want to keep them, we want to cherish them, we want to find that special woman and make that be the greatest relationship, the best, long-lasting, till death do us part kind of marriage, right? But if we don't do these few things and we don't strengthen these few things, I'm not saying we'd be mastering them, but if we could do these few things, it would be a game changer in our marriage. I was reminded of this when I went to see a friend of mine, Jeff, play keyboards. And I went to watch him play keys, and man, he was going all over the place with his keyboards. He was like making these runs and these chord progressions. I'm a keyboard player too, but man, he could make that keyboard sing. It was amazing. And then I remember having to go back home and trying to do all that stuff he tried to do. Whew, my gosh, it was a mess. Right? Because the fact is, I had not honed the ability to practice these little basic things called scales. Did not learn all the different types of scales and run through those scales every single day, and having to practice the da 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 da, right? And all the different types of scales. If you play music, you know that there's all kinds of scales. I had not taken the time to learn the scales of keyboards, of music. In the same way, when it comes to relationships, we need to learn the scales of marriage in order for us to grow in our relationship with our wife. If you don't learn these things, if you don't learn these foundational things in your marriage, you will find yourself eventually, sooner than later, finding yourselves grow apart, finding yourselves in your marriage eventually like, what is going on? What happened to that love and feeling? What happened to all these things that we used to just make these promises and I love yous and the butterflies and the birds singing kind of moments, and now it's like it's not happening anymore. What are the foundational things? I want to share with you a few foundational things in your marriage that must be strengthened, cultivated, developed in order for you to have that long-lasting, till death do us part, growing intimate, having these strong marriages that no matter what storms of life throws your way, you guys are able to bear it together. So what are they? All right. And so the first thing on my handy board here, the first thing is know her love language. Know her love language. You see, this is so important because love language, Gary Chapman wrote a book called The Love Languages. It's a classic book, but it's one of those foundational books that we need to have in our relationships. And he talks about the 5 acts of love, right? The 5 different types of love languages that we all speak as human beings. And the thing is, what I like about this is that we get to each and every one of us has maybe a combination of these that we truly desire. But I come from the standpoint that even though each and every one of us have that maybe 1 or 2 love languages that we really enjoy, that if my wife was to speak to me in this particular love language, then that would be amazing, right? However, I firmly believe that every one of us needs all 5. We need that love language of all 5. I know each of us have one language that we love to speak, like I mentioned just recently. However, if we speak all 5, that'll be amazing. It would be a game changer. It would cause my wife to be more head over heels. Why? Because I'm loving her in every way. right? It's having to love our wife in every way and making her feel loved in every way. And so the first one is touch, right? This kind of touch where it's just not talking about the physical intimacy and the hot and heavy intimacy in bed. This is talking about the hugs. This is talking about the hand holding. This is talking about just a peck on the cheek. This is talking about just simple touches with my wife without no intention of anything more, right? It's those kinds of things. It may prime the pump, you know what I'm saying? But it's all about just simple love touches, right? The other one is words of affirmation. This is so important, right? Men, the myth we have is, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to tell her. That cannot be our crutch anymore. We need to learn. If her love language is words of affirmation and we're like, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to tell her, I'm not a words kind of guy, that's wrong answer. Because the thing, what it tells me that your wife married you, and if she married you, you've had to have this skill of words of affirmation in the beginning in order for her to fall in love with you. Does that make sense? You've had to be telling her the right stuff in the beginning to woo her, to gain her attention, to have her fall in love with you. So if you say over time, I don't know what to say, that is not the truth, because you did know what to say in the beginning. You did know what to say to win her over. So don't fall into the trap and get lazy. Sorry. Don't get lazy, guys. Man, let's not get lazy and believing, I don't know what to say. We do. We just lost the ability in the sense of we became lazy. Not lost the ability, but we got lazy over time and just saying things to her like, hey, you look pretty today. Dang, girl, you look hot. I love you. It's those simple phrases that we said we showered her with those words of affirmation. And so if that is what it is, and not just if it's not, even if it's not her love language, we need to be talking it. We need to be saying it still. Quality time, right? Quality time means you're present, you're focused, you're listening, you're attentive, you're hearing her out. And I'll talk more about that at the third point. But the thing is, quality time. Quality time is important. It's the best 30 minutes. It's the best 1 hour that you're giving that's focused, that's present, and not on your phone, not distracted, not worried about other things. And even though if it is worried about other things, you're telling him, man, I'm worried about X, Y, and Z, but help me I just want to be present with you. I want to focus on you. Gifts. This is not some expensive gifts. Gifts could be like flowers. Gifts could be like a card. Gifts could be like a note. Gifts could be like Gifts could be like a small trinket. It's just small things just to show her I was thinking about you. I've been thinking about you. You are on my mind. And just getting her small gifts. And the last one is acts of service. Acts of service. Massaging her feet. Acts of service. Doing the dishes. Mowing the lawn. Washing her car. Right? All kinds of acts of service that you think to yourself, like, what does she need? What can I do to serve my wife? Right? That's what acts of service is. The next one is practice active listening. Practice active listening. I've shared this in many other videos, and I share this a lot because this is not a skill that we're taught. It has to be modeled. It's something we need to learn. And that's why I do a lot of these videos, because a lot of us don't learn how to do active listening. We go right into this whole thing of my wife tells me her problems, her troubles, her stressors of the day, and I go right into fix mode. I'll go right into, here's what you need to do. You need to fix it. You need to do this by A, B, and C. And I throw my solutions, I throw my ideas, I throw my strategies, and I'm thinking, man, I'm the best thing since hot bread, right? However, that's not what she needs. That is exactly what she does not need. What she needs for you to do when she shares with you these things is to empathize and summarize. Empathize and summarize. Say that with me, bro. Empathize and summarize. I have a lot of videos on it, practice active listening and summarizing and empathizing, because this is one of the biggest things that makes her feel loved. Empathizing says, I hear you, I understand. Empathizing, the way I like to use empathizing and the way I explain it to guys is like this. I call it the name that feeling game. Name that feeling game. You look at her body language, her nonverbals. You pay attention to the words that she's using. And with all that wrapped up, the body language, the nonverbals, and the verbals, and the words that she's listening, pay attention. And I would name that feeling. That's the game I play with Julie. She doesn't even know it, but I'm having this game in my mind because I used to love playing video games as a teenager. And I'm like, oh, babe, that must sound hard. And maybe you don't have all the right words, but you're finding the feelings, the feeling statements. That is the feelings that she's experiencing in that moment. That sounds stressful. That sounds concerning. That must be upsetting. Oh, you must be pissed off, right? You're empathizing. You're empathizing by trying to get all that she's saying and wrap it up into some feeling words that you think or feel she's experiencing. Maybe you're feeling it like, man, babe, I'm listening to this and man, I'm all spun up. I'm all stressed out by hearing these things. And she'll be like, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm feeling. And she will feel that you got me. You are responding and you are hearing what I'm saying. That's what we want her to experience in having these conversations. Because the thing is, she knows the answer. She knows the solutions. She knows what to do. It's just she needs someone to hear her out, to be like a lightning rod, to absorb all of that stress. Summarizing, like, oh my gosh, that sounds so stressful. So you're saying this happened and that happened and all this happened and she said this and he said that. Oh my gosh, that must be stressful, right? Oh my goodness, that's crazy, right? I'm not giving her solutions. I'm simply empathizing and summarizing. And the other one is communicate openly and honestly. Communicate openly and honestly. This right here is so huge. I wish I did this more often, and I wish I this is one of my struggles currently in my marriage, right? Communicating openly and honestly. I'm working on this. I've gotten a lot better, but I'm still working on it. None of this, I'm a 1 out of 10. I'm not a 10 in all of these. I'm growing. We're all growing, right? But this is one of those important things. And I have a lot of videos on what it means to have soft startups. But soft startups is basically communicating openly and honestly. It's communicating your hurts. It's communicating the things you're struggling with. It's communicating those things. And I would encourage you to communicate in such a way that is open and honest. This shares her heart, your heart. This is the ability to share your heart in a way that, hey, this is what I'm struggling with. When you said this, when I heard you say this, when you did this, this is how I felt about it. And you provide some kind of some solution and how we can communicate, how you and her can communicate, how you and I can do this dance of marriage better, right? Soft startups. I feel about what, and this is what I need. Right? I feel the emotion word. I feel about what the specific action or behavior or words that you thought you heard her say that laid on you kind of hard in a hard way. And this is what I need. This is what I'm requesting of you. I have many videos on this. Check out my YouTube channel. But the thing is, if we do these 3 things, we will find our relationships becoming more closer. We will find our marriages getting more stronger. We will find our communication styles becoming more open, more intimate, more better between the 2 of us. I would encourage you guys that if this is something that you've been learning and growing and it's been helping, I would invite you guys to share this with a friend or family member. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, as this will help me add value to other marriages and couples around the world. Because if I can help a marriage, I can help a family. And if I can help this family, we can change our communities. All right? Have a great day. Enjoy life. Take care.